10,000 ounces of gold. That's the number that stopped the entire Gold Rush fan community cold this year. It belongs to one man, Parker Schnabel. But what happened after he hit that number is where this story gets strange, because almost overnight, a rumor started spreading online that Parker hadn't just found a good season of gold. People started whispering about a hidden zone worth close to $500 million sitting underneath his ground. Now, before you get too excited, I need to be straight with you. That massive dollar figure has never been confirmed by Parker, by Discovery, or by any mining authority. It's speculation, pure and simple, born out of just how shocking his real numbers actually were. But real numbers can be shocking enough on their own. And by the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly why an entire online community convinced itself that Parker Schnabel had stumbled onto something historic. So stick with me, because the true story of how he got to 10,000 ounces is wild enough without any exaggeration. And if documentary-style breakdowns of real mining seasons and the legends built around them are your thing, subscribe now and turn on notifications so you never miss one. To understand how big a deal 10,000 ounces really is, you have to understand what Parker was walking into at the start of the season. He wasn't a rookie chasing a dream. He was already one of the most successful placer miners alive, a young man who took over his grandfather's small operation as a teenager and turned it into the largest private placer mining company in the Yukon. By the time this season began, he had already pulled more than 60,000 ounces of gold out of the ground across his career, worth somewhere north of $90 million. So when Parker set his sights on 10,000 ounces in a single season, it wasn't a fantasy number pulled out of thin air. It was an aggressive, calculated target built on years of data, years of understanding the ground he controlled, and a brand new piece of property that he had bet everything on. That property is Dominion Creek. Parker had sunk millions of dollars into acquiring and developing claims there, adding to a sprawling operation that now stretches across roughly 10,000 acres, touching Dominion Creek, Indian River, Sulphur Creek, and Australia Creek. It's not an exaggeration to call it an empire. Multiple wash plants, a crew larger than anything he'd run before, and a daily operating cost that reportedly climbed past $100,000 just to keep the machines running. This wasn't a small gamble. This was Parker putting his entire financial future on the line, betting that the ground beneath Dominion Creek held enough gold to justify the risk. And in the mining world, that kind of bet either makes you a legend or breaks you. There's no in-between. Parker knew that going in. He'd said before that mining is a game of spending massive amounts of money just to find out if the ground pays you back. Sometimes it does. Sometimes it doesn't. What made this season different is that almost from the very first weigh-ins, the ground started answering back in a big way. Early in the season, one of his crews pulled in more than 700 ounces in a single cleanup, worth somewhere around $2.5 million. That single haul pushed his season total past 4,000 ounces before most operations even hit their stride. Then came a week where every single wash plant delivered. One plant brought in over 200 ounces. Another added close to 230. A third contributed nearly 175 ounces on its own. Even a plant that had only been running for about a day still managed to pull in over 60 ounces. Altogether, that 1 week alone was worth more than $2 million, and it put Parker's season total on a trajectory that had people inside the mining community sitting up and paying attention. By the middle of the season, Parker had already banked somewhere around $15 million in recovered gold. $15 million, and he still had months of digging left. That's the kind of number that start conversations, and conversations are exactly what started happening across mining forums, YouTube comment sections, and social media threads dedicated to the show. People began doing their own math, comparing Parker's pace to previous seasons, and speculating about just how much more gold might be sitting in the ground he hadn't touched yet. This is also around the time the toughest talk on set started circulating. Parker openly admitted the pressure was intense. At one point, pushing to fire up a fourth wash plant simultaneously, he said something that stuck with a lot of viewers, that they were taking chaos to the next level. That single line captured exactly what this season was. For plants running at once isn't just an operational challenge. It's a logistical nightmare of fuel supply, equipment maintenance, crew scheduling, and constant risk of something breaking down and costing thousands of dollars in lost production every single hour. Parker leaned hard on his most trusted people to make it work. Names like Mitch Blaschke and Tyson Lee became central to keeping the operation moving, managing crews across multiple sites while Parker himself bounced between locations, checking wash plant output, solving equipment problems, and making the kind of split-second decisions that can either save a season or sink it. Every single day carried financial weight. With a daily burn rate rumored to be around $100,000, a few days of bad weather, a blown hydraulic line, or a stretch of low-grade ground could put real pressure on the entire operation's bottom line. But the ground kept delivering. Week after week, the cleanups kept adding up, and Parker's season total kept climbing toward that 10,000-ounce goal he had set before the season even started. And this is where the story starts to take on a life of its own outside the show itself. As word spread about just how consistently Parker's plants were producing, some corners of the internet started connecting dots that hadn't actually been confirmed anywhere. Rumors began floating that Parker's geologists had identified something bigger underground, an old channel or a deep pay layer that could hold value far beyond what a normal season would produce. Numbers as large as $490 million started getting attached to his name in social media posts and speculative articles. It's important to slow down here and be honest about what is and isn't verified. There is no confirmed geological report, no official statement from Parker, no announcement from Discovery, and no independent scientific study that supports a $490 million gold zone. What is verified is that Parker's overall claims at Dominion Creek are estimated to hold somewhere around 80,000 recoverable ounces, which at recent gold prices could theoretically be worth well over $160 million if it could all be extracted. That's already a staggering number on its own, and it's likely the seed that grew into the wilder, unconfirmed rumor of a near $500 million jackpot. Gold prices have also been climbing, trading above $5,000 an ounce in recent months, which only adds fuel to speculation because every existing estimate suddenly looks bigger in dollar terms, even without a single new ounce being found. So how did Parker actually get to 10,000 ounces? Not through some hidden secret channel, but through sheer scale and relentless execution, running multiple wash plants simultaneously for extended stretches, committing to bigger equipment, including massive new rock trucks brought in to move more ground faster, pushing his crew through brutal stretches where the machines almost never stopped. It was a season built on volume, consistency, and Parker's willingness to spend heavily to keep production high, rather than any single miraculous discovery. There were setbacks along the way, too, because there always are in this business. Equipment breakdowns cost him time. Weather slowed operations at points. Crew tension flared under the pressure of such an ambitious goal, which is something longtime viewers of the show have come to expect from any season chasing a record number. Every gold rush miner knows that a big goal means big risk, and Parker's approach this season leaned fully into that risk rather than shying away from it. When the crew finally crossed the 10,000-ounce mark, it wasn't framed as some accidental jackpot discovery. It was framed, accurately, as the payoff of an aggressive, well-funded, high-risk strategy that Parker had committed to from day one. He hit the number he set out to hit, becoming one of the most productive seasons in the show's history and adding significantly to a career total that was already among the largest in placer mining. That achievement alone puts him in rare company, someone who mined tens of thousands of ounces before even turning 30 and built the largest private placer operation in the territory along the way. The online rumors about a hidden $500 million zone likely took off simply because reality was already so impressive that people wanted to believe there was something even bigger just beneath the surface. And who knows, maybe future seasons at Dominion Creek will reveal more of what's down there. Parker himself has said the ground still has years of production left in it if managed correctly, and with an estimated 80,000 recoverable ounces on his claims, there is genuinely a lot of gold left to mine in the years ahead. But until independent geological data confirms anything close to a $490 million discovery, that number remains speculation, not fact, and it's worth treating it that way no matter how exciting the headline sounds. What we do know for certain is this. Parker Schnabel set an ambitious 10,000-ounce goal, bet millions of dollars and his own financial future on new ground at Dominion Creek, pushed his equipment and his crew to their absolute limits, and delivered on that goal in one of the most talked-about seasons in the show's history. That's not a rumor. That's a documented, verified achievement, and honestly, it doesn't need an exaggerated dollar figure attached to it to be one of the most impressive runs in modern placer mining. So the real question isn't whether there's a secret $490 million jackpot hiding under Dominion Creek. The real question is what Parker does next with the ground he's already proven can produce at this level. Does he push even harder next season? Does further exploration reveal new pay layers that genuinely change the scale of his operation? Nobody outside his team knows for sure yet, and that uncertainty is exactly what's going to keep people watching every news season closely. If you want to see how this story develops as new information comes out, make sure you're subscribed, because we'll be covering it as soon as anything real is confirmed. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.